Hi guys, today I would like to talk about something that I've been hearing a lot about recently, which is relying on the sound of your auto attack in game to tell you when you should use a rune or a spell. So this is something that people have recommended to me, and they said, turn on your sound in game for your auto attack and then listen for the audio cue when you attack. And then you know that you haven't missed your auto attack and that you can use your spell, you can throw your rune if you're a paladin, and that's your rotation. And I'm very surprised to hear a lot of people suggest this and think this is a good idea. Now, I understand that this makes it very easy to track your auto attack, but there is a very significant downside that comes with this, and this is something I would like to talk about in this video. So let's talk about this strategy and suggestion. Now, first of all, let me talk about not using an auto attack to decide when to use your spell or a rune. So for example, me, when I play, I do not have the sound on, and I decide when I need to use my spells purely based on, instinct and something that is, something I don't need to think about. I have at this stage probably cast about 1 million spells or more as an EK, and it's just ingrained in me to know exactly when I auto attack and when I should use a spell to not miss an auto attack. This doesn't mean I never miss an auto attack, but I would guess I hit about 29 out of 30 auto attacks, so 29 in like a 60-second period, and I might miss one due to casting a spell too quickly. And I think that most experienced players are similar to me, that they just don't need to think about when they need to cast the spell. They know when the auto attack is going to happen instinctively. This just comes from experience. And I measured this for myself at some point in the past, and I found that I usually take between 50 milliseconds to 100 milliseconds to attack and cast the spell afterwards. This effectively means what I'm writing here in the presentation, that an experienced player's damage turn should last somewhere between 2050 milliseconds to about 2100 milliseconds. The theoretical minimum or the floor is 2000 milliseconds. This is exactly how long the cooldown is before you can use another attack in Tibia. Okay, so moving on. The average human reaction time is somewhere between 150 to 300 milliseconds, and some of you will probably know where this is going already. When it comes to audio cues, the average reaction time is somewhere around 200 milliseconds. So basically, if you rely on the auto attack sound, and then when the auto attack sound happens, you then in your brain decide to then use your spell or rune, you will, your average damage turn, let's say, will last somewhere between 2150 milliseconds to 2300 milliseconds. This is basically the 2000 millisecond theoretical minimum, plus the reaction time on top of that, based on how long it will take you to react to the audio cue of your auto attack going off. Now, I'm, averaging here a little bit, so I'm going to assume an average of about 2075 milliseconds for an experienced player for their damage turn. So this is in between what I've calculated mine to be, and about 2200 milliseconds for an average reaction time for, listening to an audio cue. I think this is more or less what you could expect. So here is a number. If you rely on the auto attack sound instead of experienced instinct, you will lose approximately 6% of your DPS because your average damage turn will take 6% longer than if you instinctively know when to use your spells and runes. Now, if you think about what 6% means, just to give you an example, I believe Soul Bleeder, probably the most expensive basic item in the game, gives you about 1 to 2% damage increase compared to like a falcon bow, and that costs like 400 KK, right? And this 6% is about 3 soul bleeders worth of a difference. I don't think I need to tell you that this is huge. Okay, however, what I will say is that I understand the merits of using the auto attack sound. So if you are really bad at timing your auto attacks and you're missing half of your auto attacks, relying on the sound is an effective way of learning and experiencing and getting that instinct, okay? So if you are just starting a new vocation, or you are a super casual player and you don't really care about a 6% DPS loss, or for example, you are bad at auto attack for some reason and you want to get better, sure, put the sound on and use that to get better, okay? And use it to get more used to how long it takes for the auto attack to happen, and how to use spells and runes to not block your auto attack, because auto attack is super important on both EKs and paladins. However, if you are a serious player and you want to push your end game content and you want to be effective, you want to be, winning the Farumbras raid, because you're a level 1000 paladin, if you rely on the auto attack sound cue and you're giving up 6% DPS, that is huge, that is very significant. Which is why I'm quite surprised that so many people are recommending this. I mean, I must have heard this from about 3 or 4 different people at this stage, so I'm sure loads of people are doing this. And again, if you don't mind the 6% DPS loss, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're relatively casual, you're just doing some casual bossing, it's not a big deal, okay? But if you are a serious player who wants to, do serious content and, you want to push your numbers, you should not be relying on the auto attack sound to tell you when to use your spells or runes. You should be practicing to know when the auto attack is going to happen and instinctively use your spell or rune immediately after. Okay, that's what I have for you today, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. Tell me if you disagree. Maybe I'm wrong for some reason. Maybe you think that using auto attack sound is the better way. But this is what I think. These are my findings, and I personally don't use it, and I'm not planning to ever use it. Unless, I switch vocations somehow and I really need to, again, get used to it a little bit. But I think once you're used to it on one vocation, you really should kind of know for all vocations, because the time is exactly the same, right? Nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.